We're talking meatballs. We're going to do the classic polpette, the Italian meatballs.
All right.
So we're going to do a mixture of ground chuck. We have ground pork. Like to thank Averill Blas, the oldest and longest running butcher in Cincinnati, down on Court Street, downtown. They do a great job with stuff. So we're going to take about, I don't know, 2/3 chuck, a little bit of pork. If you like to fatten it up, you can use some bacon. You can get all kinds of good stuff in there. And the cool thing about this is, depending on how you season it and what you make, you can turn it into a meatloaf really super easy. I like a little bit of egg. It adds protein on protein and a little richness. And instead of breadcrumbs, this is just something weird and kind of I don't know, Appalachian, I guess, or my personal profile-y, tasty kind of thing. I like to do Ritz crackers. That's not very Italian, but it tastes really good.
Did you reduce salt when you use the cracker or anything, or does it matter?
Oh yeah, well, it's another way of incorporating salt, keeping things clean. You don't have to worry about breadcrumbs, panko, any of that stuff.
I gotcha.
So normally we're going Italian. For this amount, I would say about like that. We can always check a little later. And salt liberally. Well, not as liberally with the crackers. That was a good question. Pepper. If you really want to do Italian, I'm going to put a little basil and roasted garlic. Fresh garlic's got kind of a bite to it. There's some Parmesan. We're going to take the mixture, get it together pretty good, make one homogeneous mass, see what the texture is. If it's alright, we'll start to roll it.
Alright.
Like that. It's still kind of tacky, but it's got great texture to it. So for this style of meatball, and again for you know, just the idea that you could flip it into a meatloaf, I'm just going to spray a cookie sheet, ball these up, let me get this stuff out of the way, and put it in the oven. When they're almost done, I'm going to finish it and tomato sauce.
Alright.
And that way we're going to have meatball sliders here, but you're ready for, you know, spaghetti and meatballs. You can make whatever kind of pasta you like. And again, it's up to you, player's choice, how big you like them.
You want to swing around a little bit to the left.
Like with a lot of things, it's hard to make just one. But variations on something like this, you can use any kind of cheese you want. You could add any kind of fresh herb you want. Oregano. I don't recommend stuff like dill or tarragon unless you really have a taste for it. If you really want to be cutesy, you could put pepperoni in it. If you really want to be cutesy, you could put mozzarella or smoked mozzarella inside. Right in the middle, bake it off, and finish it in there. And when you cut it open, it has like a molten core. It's just kind of being creative with meatballs.
Using what you got to make a nice ball of meat.
That's the whole idea behind meatballs, was using up every part of the animal and being sure to feed your family. Same thing with meatloaf. Any sort of old school charcuterie, and meatloaf and meatballs and all that stuff are kind of like the prototypes, like the original alpha testing. So here we are, 8 meatballs, super easy, super quick. Put them in the oven. You're going to lose about, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the size. We'll put it into a tomato sauce when we're done. And these will be big enough we can kind of squish them down a little bit and have sliders A little cheese on top, a little tomato sauce. Real straightforward.
Woo!
You can feel them. Those feel done. We're going to transfer them to pot. Be perfect. Another style of meatball. This is more of a kind of an Armenian kofta. It's ground lamb, a little bit of ground chuck, feta. They say studded with feta. I made a spice mixture of cumin and allspice, a little bit of cinnamon, some onion powder, some chili powder, of course salt and pepper, fresh cilantro, fresh parsley. Sometimes it has fresh mint in it. All that stuff combined, and these are usually pan fried, so you make them a little flat and more kind of football shaped, or sorry, sometimes they're more kind of like conical. Let me just put them together here. I fell in love with kibbeh, which is usually it's the same sort of mixture, the same sort of ingredients and all that, but it has bulgur wheat in it. And oftentimes kibbeh is made into sort of like a strange football shape again, but it's hollowed out and then filled with the other things, and then deep fried or flash fried, and it's pretty amazing. Some religious holidays you eat it raw. I think a lot of Middle Eastern food isn't just healthy; it's amazing as far as the flavor profiles go. And we're going to show you this one. Real simple. Again, if the lamb is a little bit more fatty, but if you want to make a meatloaf out of this, feel free. A little cumin, little spice mixture there. Here's
Swivel a little.
cilantro, parsley. Let's get into our salt. It's going to have feta in it, so you don't have to go too crazy with the salt. Lamb's kind of gamey, so it really depends on how you like it. Oh, there goes the feta. This is great. We're going to make it with a little bit of like an American tzatziki. It's fresh cucumbers, English or Persian cucumbers. A little bit of mayonnaise, a little bit of yogurt, lemon juice, some chili powder. All put together.
Oh, get some eating. Oh, well, that can't help.
Again, make it one homogeneous mass. Be sure everything is good to go. And I'm going to make these more football shaped and a little flatter, and then we're going to sear them in a pan. I like to give it a little press like this. The more you work it, the more it'll stay together for you later. So we're balling it the same way. Then I'll flatten it a little bit. So you're going to do it in the skillet. If you don't have a heavy bottom skillet or a Dutch oven, you want to do it like this and then finish it in your oven. And it's not so much about traditional shapes. I mean, this creates more surface area. And just makes it easier to put into the skillet.
Alright.
Easier for me.
Meatball vision! Oh no! Meatball vision!
Gloved up. Get a good sear. It's awful crowded in there. Lower heat. Let it sear a little bit. Kind of medium.
Oh, good.
And lammy.
Bah, bah. Tell us something, less Clarice.
Oh, so this is a really nice Maillard action here. You got dip browning, flip it. I'm gonna turn it down even lower. Let that cook, maybe 2 minutes. Then I'm gonna put it on a pan and finish them in the oven so we're sure that it's cooked all the way through. We're gonna try something new and taking meatballs to a different level in a different place. They're called lion's head, and they are actually cooked in broth. We're going to cook them in sort of a super Asian-y fusion sort of kimchi broth, so it'll be very spicy. This is ground pork, a little bit of ground chuck. We have fresh parsley, cilantro. There'll be some sriracha, but we're also going to add soy and ginger, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, just for Western palates, brighten it up. And when we try it, it'll be with broth and some noodles. So the idea of the lion's head meatball is you're poaching it, and it cooks, and it kind of opens up a little bit and looks like a mane. This is a first for me, but I wanted to include it in a little meatball because I think, why not?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Oh God! First for all of us. Flavor, 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 flavor. I like to use meatloaf, which is Thai. This is kind of a mixture of all those things, plus a little extra spicy. And then we're going to take this guy. Oh my gosh.
Side shooting.
Woohoo! Danger! We switch gloves. I don't want things to get too weird. I'm going to actually make these a little smaller so it's easier to poach them. It doesn't take quite as long. Totally make me feel like Darth Vader. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and again, mix them up. So these are a little looser, a little smaller. These are definitely the kind you want to throw a little bit. You gotta realize when you're making meatballs, you gotta work pretty fast, because the once the meat gets warm, it'll start to want to fall apart on you. And we'll get these in the fridge and start putting our broth together.
All right.
Kimchi broth, lion head, experiment. Whew!
So what are we doing here?
I am poaching the lion head balls. So we've baked and then finished in a sauce. We've seared off and we're finishing in the oven. And now we're poaching in a hot kimchi broth. See how long these take. And then we'll cook some noodles in the same broth. And see if they blow us up. Szechuan style.
Steamy.
Italian American style meatballs. Done in tomato sauce with crumbled fresh mozzarella and Parmesan Reggiano. Slider. Kind of
Alright.
coming together, updated. You guys should try it.
How is it?
Oh god, this will good.
Alright.
Careful, they're messy.
See how that would be good meatloaf?
Mm-hmm. Oops.
Oh, it makes about 4 days of meatball sandwiches.
Be like a taco.
And this has the feta and the American tzatziki
Lamb.
and lamb. All lamb.
And a little ground chunk in there. It's pretty mild. It's good.
It's good.
We need bibs and tarps. Alright.
You wanna hold it?
Okay, another little guy. Yeah.
I don't know how it'd be.
It's got a good texture.
It has the pork in it?
Yeah. And then the heat pops up. It's pretty cool.
I like that.
Like,
Not that spicy, but still got enough spice.
yeah, like bird's eye chilies.
That is a really good meatball.
That was good cinema.